oil from Russia.
I suspect, looking at the figures, probably our total purchases for the month would be less than what Europe does in an afternoon.
And has even dared to show America a mirror.
We also have views on other people's human rights situation, including that of the United States. I had the honor of accompanying him.
When it comes to showing the world the face of a brave new India, there's nobody better than Dr. S. Jaishankar. The year was 2015. Dr. Jaishankar was just 2 days away from retirement when he received the news of his appointment as India's Foreign Secretary. 4 years later, he made history by being the first Foreign Secretary ever to become the Minister of External Affairs and assume a political assignment without ever being a part of active politics. In fact, he was elected from Narendra Modi's home state of Gujarat only after he was chosen as the Minister of External Affairs.
It's really a great pleasure.
Fitting, as Dr. Jaishankar's rapid ascendance has mirrored that of the Modi government in putting forward the bold and fearless side of a new India. Just like the Prime Minister, the External Affairs Minister too doesn't shy away from calling a spade a spade.
One country would do terrorism, but if the other country responds, then it's called danger of war.
It is this fearlessness of Dr. Jaishankar that makes him the best choice to be the Foreign Minister of a true visionary. Like PM Narendra Modi.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the pleasure of hosting the Honorable External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar. Dr. Jaishankar, thank you very much for being part of the inaugural edition of the CNN News 18 Town Hall. You've been a career diplomat for 40 years as ambassador, as joint secretary, foreign secretary, and then now, of course, as External Affairs Minister. How has that journey been from aiding and advising governments on foreign policy matters to now actually being in the hot seat? How has the transition been?
Well, look, first of all, I want to say that wasn't me. Because you picked all the moments of the provocative moments, the
viral videos.
Yeah, I'm a nice guy. I speak in low-key tones most of the time and reason with people. And
but now you've become a viral sensation.
So I want to temper it down a bit. But coming to your question, look, for me, of course, being selected to be a minister in the Union Cabinet was something which was extraordinary. It was not something I could have even dreamt of. Honestly, it's obviously as someone who didn't have a political background. The nearest I did politics was in my student union days, which was a long time ago. It was a journey with a very steep learning curve. But I had very good colleagues around me. You can see one sitting in front, from whom I learned a lot. You sort of, part of actually also of my earlier profession was you looked around you in the environment, you saw how it worked, you adjusted to it, and some of it is how it happens. But it is something to actually not just be a minister. I would say to be a member of parliament, to be in the house, to also where your own ministry is concerned, to be the place where the buck really stops, because even a secretary, even a very good secretary, at the end of the day is an exceptional COO. So if you were to look at the ministry in an enterprise-like fashion, the minister is the CEO, and the minister's responsibilities are always much more, and that is a jump, and it is something which you have to sort of adjust to.
So in this journey from COO to CEO that you've made in the last 3 years, obviously, you've dealt with a gamut of issues. You don't need me to enlist them, from the pandemic to a war to, something or the other that keeps happening all the time. Have you at any point in the last 3 years felt that maybe I should have been a retired COO? I don't want to make the transition to CEO.
No, look, I won't sort of deny it that, I mean, you may get a new challenge. It may ask much more of you. But I think if you are fundamentally a competitive person, you actually enjoy the challenge. You know, you shape up to it. You ask more of yourself. As I said, it's frankly like going up in your level of your game, if you don't mind my putting it so colloquially. You know, I mean, which test player said I had a great Ranji Trophy? So you know, it's a different level. So and you know, again, you see many more things. I mean, I caught Smritiji's the beginning of a session in my office. Well, I missed a bit when I was driving, obviously, but some of the points she made, which was, you know, how ministers work together, you know, how you exchange views. I mean, I am way more well informed today. I mean, simply sitting in a council of ministers, listening to issues, listening to challenges where all the ministers or a group of ministers need to come to work together. It takes you to a very different level.
You know, there is this very middle class saying that Rajniti gandi hoti hai, अच्छे बच्चे राजनीति पे नहीं आते हैं and all that. And you're from a nice South Indian family, you know, the son of a legendary policy maker. When you got that call, what was going through your mind? What did you tell your family? What did your family tell you?
No, I think the family bit will leave after.
Okay. What went through your mind?
No, look, I mean, honestly, I mean, for me it was a huge surprise, but I mean, when the Prime Minister of India, you know, even thinks that you could be worthy of such a responsibility, I mean, it's something you are really almost shocked by. So and I mean, you're right that, you know, there are a lot of, I mean, as I said, I'm not from a political background at all, but I think and I say this to people when I today talk to them, when I travel around the country, you know, we have this sense that in a certain class, I mean, forgive my being now very blunt about it, that somehow, you know, politics, other people do it. I mean, you put it in your way. I think if we want to really influence politics, we really care about the country, we can't say, okay, somebody else is going to do it, you know, there's a mess, they're going to clean it up, or it's very nice to say, you know, not take responsibility and pass judgments. That has also become almost an industry in itself. So there are difficult challenges, and I think people need to own up to it. I think even people of a middle class, a professional background today must take interest, must come forward, and I mean, they don't have to necessarily be a minister or an MP or an MLA, but the idea that you want politics to be at an arm's length, but you want all the good things which come out of it. You want all your interests to be fixed in it, but yet you feel, oh, I'm different. I think that kind of hypocrisy, if you don't, you know, really needs to end.
We wouldn't have guessed who you're talking about, but I'll park that thought for a